At some point, you begin to hear the voice, what's the use? This is stupid. When you want to quit the most, that is the time that the fast is being most effective. Not only is God taking notice of you, but Satan is taking notice of you when you're fasting. There is in your body something called ghrelin, G-H-R-E-L-I-N. Ghrelin, in the simplest way that I can say it, is what makes your stomach growl. Have you ever been sitting? Maybe it's about to happen now already. And this growl comes up, and it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing noise that comes from the middle of your body, and you have absolutely no control over it. Well, ghrelin is this, it's this hormone. It's called the hunger hormone that causes your stomach to growl, and it's also what triggers the feeling of hunger in your body. Nobody has to go around and try to remember to be hungry, because you have ghrelin, and ghrelin assaults you about once every 2 or 3 hours. And it grumbles, and it makes you know that you need to eat. It's that growling noise in your body that will only stop embarrassing you if you feed it a Twinkie, if you feed it a cookie, if you give it a cheeseburger. It'll calm down. And get used to that, because you're going to hear it a lot over the next few days. Nobody tries to remember to eat, because you have hunger hormones that stir you up all through the day and say, feed me. You haven't eaten lunch. You haven't eaten breakfast. Feed me. Feed me. How many of you have good ghrelin that works? Say amen. So here's what I'm saying to you. You're going to think that God is recreating the miracle that He did in the book of Joshua when He made the sun stand still. It's going to feel like the day is not moving, and you're going to look at your watch and you're going to think it's got to be 6:30 in the afternoon, and it's going to be 9:30 in the morning. And you're going to be so hungry, and you're going to think time has stopped. This is incredible. I can't do this. This is nuts. But that's when the fast is working. That's when you will begin to understand what Jesus did and what He commanded that His disciples do in seasons of fasting and prayer. And my point is this: I want God to give you such a spiritual ghrelin hormone, spiritual hunger for God, that all through this fast there's a stirring. I need to read my Bible. I need to pray. I need to worship. I need Jesus. I can't have another year like I had. I don't want to go through another year where I just kind of go through the motions of Christianity. I want to hunger for God. And I'm praying that spiritually there's a growl. There's a disturbing thing on the inside of you that says, I need God. I need God. My family needs God. I need to fast, and I need to pray. I'm praying that that will become so real that you will reach a point that your spiritual life becomes as active as your snack life. I mean, your snack life, when that hormone of hunger gets going, you're always looking for some chips, looking for some salsa, looking for some almonds, looking for this, looking for that. I'm praying that your spiritual hunger for God is as active as your hunger for snacks. When you don't pray, you get just as miserable as you feel when you haven't eaten. And it begins to grip you at some point. This fun thing, this thing, if you start out with the motive, when I need to lose a few little pounds, and so I'm going to go. I promise you that's going to wear off real quick, and your mind will tell you there's a whole lot of easier ways to lose weight than this. But when it does, that's when all of the distractions are being cleared away, and Jesus is becoming real if you'll let Him in your life in a powerful new way. And that annoying, gnawing hunger that we get when we don't eat physical food, I'm telling you that now you're going to have that same gnawing in the spiritual dimension for spiritual food. And I pray that somebody says, I want a spiritual hunger to grip me. I want to ask you a question. Are you hungry after God? I'm not willing to sit here and just go through the motions because I'm hungry. And fasting is hungering for God. All along in our journey, we need to show God that we hunger for Him. Nothing else can satisfy. The book of 2 Kings 7, there's the story. And the Bible said that the city was completely surrounded and Israel had been cut off and all the inhabitants were under siege. It was such a crisis that they had run out of food. The rations were gone and they were in a dire, dire condition. They became so desperate because they didn't have anything to eat. They became so hungry that the Bible said things that would have been unacceptable for consumption, now they're fighting over. They're so hungry that they're fighting over things that normally they would never even consume and eat. For example, the Bible said the people in this city became so hungry that for 80 pieces of silver, you could buy a donkey's head, and they would peel the skin off of the donkey's head and cook it. And that was how desperate they were to have anything to eat. And if that wasn't bad enough, the Bible gave another example, and it said the people were so hungry that for 5 pieces of silver, you could buy a cup of dove's dung, dove's waste. You see, when you're hungry, if you don't consume the right things to feel that hunger, then you will begin to feed on things you never said you would consume. I believe with all of my heart, if you don't direct your spiritual hunger in seasons to feed and hunger after spiritual things, that those hungers, that if you don't direct them toward God and the Word and worship and a greater relationship with Jesus, then those hungers will direct you to the wrong things. And you'll begin to feed on things on the internet, and you'll begin to feed on things that are carnal, that begin to leave your soul lean and empty, and you're drying up. And spiritually, it's been so long since you had a touch of Jesus because you're feeding only the carnal things, and it's really a God hunger that's crying out, come back to me, come and seek me in fasting and in prayer, and draw near to me and I'll draw near to you. But we don't take time to ever feed our hunger for God. And when we try to substitute junk food, donkey's head